So in initially when I first took the eGMAT mock test, I have absolutely no idea what data insight is all about. Absolutely zero, because this part is not present in the previous GMAT. And so all of the books I've bought and the studying materials that I've read did not touch on these data insights at all. And again, when I took the mock test, I was completely shocked. I was flabbergasted because again, these questions seem easy. I mean, when you look at a graph, you can see, oh, okay, I kind of understand what this graph is trying to say. But when you actually go to the question, the answer choices, then you realize that this is not just a walk in the park and anymore. In the actual test, I got 100 percentile for my data sufficiency part in the data insight. So that tells me that I answered every data sufficiency questions correct. Again, this is because of eGMAT. Luckily, I managed to recover completely D-1 of my test, and I took again the mock and I scored around 665. And on my actual GMAT, I got 655. So again, guys, this really shows you like the similarity, the quality of these questions that can really, to some extent, predict your ability. And this has been very helpful for me. Me personally, I was targeting MBA programs in Japan and some European business schools. So I set a target of 645 for myself. And yeah, seeing from my second and third and fifth mock, seeing that I have achieved this level, this target level, gave me the confidence to do the actual GMAT test on test day. And yeah, it turned out exactly like what the eGMAT mock tests have told me so far.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another debrief session with me. My name is Dhruv, and I'm one of the strategy experts at eGMAT. And today I'm thrilled to have with me Darin, who recently scored a 655. He improved from a 565 on his diagnostic mock, which means an improvement of 90 points. When he started his journey with a 565 diagnostic mock, the score breakup looked like a V80. I believe, Darren, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's
Right?
correct.
A V80, and then a Q85 and a DI69. Right? In his last attempt, the official attempt, he scored a 655 with a V84, right? Which means a good 4 point improvement in
Mm-hmm.
verbal, 90th percentile. There, he had a massive 14 point improvement in data insights, which went from a DI 69 to a DI 83, which places him in the 96th percentile. And his quant score ended up with a Q80. Of course, a few things did not go the way he wanted them to go on the test day. So he's here to discuss everything with us. He's here to share all his insights about his journey, what worked for him, what did not work for him, and any advice that he has for all of you GMAT aspirants. Darin is here with us to do all of that. Darin, welcome to this debrief session. How are you?
Hi, Drew. Thank you for having me here. I'm great. Hi, everyone. My name is Darin, and I'm absolutely thrilled to share my experience with you about eGMAT and how it really helped me push forward my GMAT preparation. Like Ruth just mentioned, I scored a 90-point increase in my overall GMAT score, and that really, really helped me a lot, especially in just a short span of only 2 months of preparation. Only 2 months.
Right, 90 points in 2 months is no mean feat, Darren. So congratulations to you on that. So before we begin with dissecting your journey and discussing more about it, if you could just help our viewers with a bit about your background as to where do you come from, what do you do right now, what are your academics?
Mhm. Okay, so my name is Darin. I'm from Jakarta, Indonesia, and currently, my background is in consumer goods, and I'm currently, I'm currently 26 years old. This year, I'll be turning to 26, and yeah, I've been working professionally for around 4 years, and um, I'm planning to take an MBA to further advance my career, which is why I had to take the GMAT course, and which is why I picked eGMAT to help me in my journey.
Right, right. Thank you so much for the background. So, Darren, let's understand what were the criteria that you set out for yourself to choose the right course for yourself? Because of course there are a lot of GMAT courses out
Mhm.
there. What were those pointers or those features about the eGMAT course that made you think that okay, this is I think the right fit for me, and eGMAT is a course that can help me succeed in my GMAT dreams.
Right. So first of all, coming from an undergraduate background of food technology, so from a science background, I was quite confident about my quantitative ability in general, although in the test day it did not turn out as high as I would have hoped, but still. And because of that, initially my main criteria was to find a course that really sets itself apart, mostly on how to teach me how to improve on my verbal and in my data insight section. Like I knew myself quite well before I began looking through the available options in the internet. And also, I would like a platform that gives me not just any regular mock test, but really like a specifically designed mock test that really mimics what will turn out in the test day itself. And yeah, through several days, actually I spent days researching on the available platforms and as well as the price, of course. And finally I decided to try and give eGMAT the chance because I've seen a lot of reviews. I've also seen videos like this, like the one I'm doing right now on YouTube as well. And yeah, guys, just I mean the sheer amount of the video testimonials available on YouTube really shows you like the actual proof of eGMAT's success history.
Right. Thank you so much for giving us that background as well. All right, Darren. So let's dive into your GMAT journey. Right. Let's start with
Absolutely.
the verbal section. You were starting at a V80, a very decent
Mhm.
beginning, I would say, and then you improved to a V84, 90th percentile. Let's start with critical reasoning. Right.
Mhm.
To begin with, right. What challenges did you identify, or what weaknesses did you identify in your verbal preparation? CR to be specific.
Okay, first of all, starting from CR, Um, I don't know if you guys also have this kind of negative habit like me. So when I see like a verbal question, and this is basically a habit that has been carried with me from my high school years, my university years, that tend to read very fast, like skim very fast the actual passage and go directly to the question options, the options A
Answer
to E, and
choices.
right, and that was like one of my main weaknesses in the beginning. And after going through the eGMAT courses, I learned that you actually have to pay attention to the passage itself more. Like you have to make sure you have a complete understanding of the passage before you even looked into the options, the available options. I mean, me personally, I very tempting to directly go and read the options, but as it turns out, that was not the way to go. I had to really master the passage well itself first, and especially the pre-thinking part of the verbal that really helped me. So like you have to already have a clear position in your mind, like you have to put yourself as if you're inside that passage, and with that kind of position, with that kind of thinking, you can in a way you can guess, like you can infer what the question actually wants you to answer, and after that you go to the question choices one by one. That's first. And the second thing that eGMAT has taught me is how to discover these tricks, these traps that the GMAT test makers have prepared for you, especially in the question options. And yeah, it guys, believe me that the verbal section is really tricky. They will throw really words or sentences that you can actually find directly in the passage, but as it turns out, that does not directly correlates to the passage, even though they have exactly the same wordings. that's only one example. And yeah, to discover these tricks is really useful for me, especially on the test day. Like, so I can really it sets my mind like I to put myself in the place of the test maker and to like put these tricks and traps that really helps you to distinguish in a fast and timely manner, because again time is a great constraint during the test, so you have to have the ability
Correct.
to instantly know whether an option is correct or wrong, and that's that kind of ability is really taught by eGMAT's verbal section.
Correct. Correct. You already spoke about pre-thinking and how it helped you. Let's speak about reading comprehension because you just
Mhm.
mentioned that you had a negative habit of skimming through a lot of information, right?
Exactly, and
So,
I'm
so,
sure a lot
so
of
yes, even I had it because when we are in school, we are taught to save time by looking at the questions first and
Mhm,
then
correct.
looking for those similar words in the passage and trying to find the answer right there, right? But that is not how it works in the GMAT. So, what parts of the course helped you get better at reading comprehension, and what process or what steps were you following to answer a reading comprehension passage that helped you succeed a lot in the verbal section?
Right. Okay. So now moving on specifically to the reading comprehension part. Again, I have to say that time is really a big constraint on the GMAT test, and the reading comprehension gives, I think, around 3 paragraphs to 4 paragraphs, and so you really have to uh, master that. And the thing is that one passage is for multiple questions, sometimes four, sometimes five, so you really you have no option of absolutely like not understanding even one of the passage, and you have to do that on a timely manner. And so that skill is what's taught to me by eGMAT. The first thing is that you really have to understand the passage first. Again, do not look at the answer choices first. You have to make sure you completely understand the passage as a whole, and after you do that, you'll find out that you don't actually have to go back to the passage to answer all of those questions, the next 4 to 5 questions, because you already have this understanding in your mind of what the passage is trying to say. That's first. And then the second is that thing that eGMAT has taught me is the note-taking skills. This is very important because again, our brain only has so much capacity to remember all of the points in the reading passage, but you also only have so much time in the GMAT test, so you have to make, I don't know, probably 1 or 2 key notes per paragraph to remind you of what that paragraph is actually trying to tell you. And those
Correct.
kind of skills are also taught by eGMAT to me, and that really helps me. Again, on the test day, you don't have much time. You have a really long paragraph, 3 to 4 paragraph, and then you have the next 4 to 5 questions related to that same paragraph. And those key skills are what really helped my verbal part.
Right, right. So, Darren, I'll just share my screen and take everyone through your cementing process. So, let's
Mm-hmm.
take a look at your Scholaranium stats for verbal. Allow it to load, please. So, you, I think, really mastered pre-thinking and the processes for reading comprehension, because of which, if you look at your medium cementing scores and your hard cementing scores, they are flawless, right? Of course, when you had relaxed, when the quiz was taken in the relaxed mode, your accuracy was literally 90% on hard questions.
Mm-hmm.
And even though when you took these quizzes in standard mode, your accuracy was still around 60%, which is exceptional, and not a single quiz where you did not meet the threshold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can say the same about reading comprehension as well. Just one little blip here, and your reading comprehension
That's right.
accuracy was always 87%, 83%, and this cannot happen if one does not manage time well, right? So you are actually you had actually mastered the entire process. You had learned verbal diligently, and you could see that your hard accuracy on the last 10 questions, or rather last 20 questions, was 70% for CR and 65% for RC, which is fantastic, right? So kudos to you on that. And I'm sure all your insights are going to be extremely helpful to a lot of people who are currently studying the verbal section and are looking for some improvement there. So thank you so much
Mhm.
for that. Let
No
us move to
problem.
data insights. Okay. The
Yeah,
section where you went from
absolutely. This is the
a
most exciting
DI,
part.
you went from a DI 69 to a DI 83. No cakewalk. Take us through this journey of data insights. What worked for you? How did you go about it? And what led to this 14-point improvement?
Right. Okay. So in initially when I first took the eGMAT mock test, I have absolutely no idea what data insight is all about. Absolutely zero, because this part is not present in the previous GMAT. And so all of the books I've bought and the studying materials that I've read did not touch on these data insights at all. And again, when I took the mock test, I was completely shocked. I was flabbergasted because again, these questions seem easy. I mean, when you look at a graph, you can see, oh, okay, I kind of understand what this graph is trying to say. But when you actually go to the question, the answer choices, then you realize that this is not just a walk in the park anymore. That's kind of challenging. And if you can see, I'm sure you can do the research online that data insights is actually, in terms of percentile, is actually uh, relatively speaking harder for the general of the applicants compared to quantitative and verbal. So, for example, in my case, in my actual GMAT test, I got 5 questions wrong for the quantitative part, and that immediately took my score to Q80. So it's kind of punishing, to be honest. But for data insights, even if you score 4 or 5 wrong, in my case, I score around 4 or 5 questions wrong, but I still could manage to get DI 83 or 96th percentile. So that alone can tell you that this data insight part is generally much more difficult, relatively speaking, compared to the verbal and quant. So for those of you who might find yourself in a similar situation like me, you're kind of confident in your quant, you're kind of okay in the verbal, but you're kind of missing out on the data insights part, you really have to take eGMAT, because eGMAT teaches you like a very systematic way on how to approach the data insight parts. So in their lesson, they actually they actually divided the data insight into 4 categories, if I'm not mistaken. There's, for example, two-part analysis, multi-source reasoning.
Correct.
And the part that I find most helpful is that you have your mock questions, like the questions designed by eGMAT, is absolutely similar, at least in my case, with the questions that I have found on the test day itself. So when it just make sure you do everything that the pace engine. So pace is like, it's another feature of eGMAT. It's like a personalized engine that can actually track your progress and then advises you on which videos you have to watch on, or which videos you can skip because you have mastered it, etc. Like by just following pace and just to basically just follow what the platform tells you to do and really put your best in it. Do every of the practice tests, the cementing quizzes, uh the the application files, everything. Go through it, everything. Make sure you have a clear understanding of what kind of questions data insights are. I think that's the main point. The main point is that you have to understand the format of this question first and foremost, because if it's kind of unique, so any compared to any other test and compared to the previous version of GMAT, this is kind of unique, and you have to make sure you master and understand the question type. That's first, and also GMAT taught me about that. And then second is just practice, 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 practice makes perfect. After you make sure you understand it, you have to practice. And again, eGMAT also tells you like the pitfalls that you have to watch out for. For example, I vividly remember like this one part where I repeatedly like stumbled upon is the data sufficiency part. So remember, guys, in this GMAT Focus Edition, data sufficiency is shifted to the data insights part. And yeah, that data sufficiency is very, very tricky. Again, eGMAT tells you like you have to watch out. You have to evaluate each statements one by one without actually looking at both the first time you see it, and that really helped me uh, in the data sufficiency. If I'm not mistaken, in my actual test, wait, let me just open my statistics from the
Sure.
MBA.com. Aha, right. I was right. In the actual test, I got 100 percentile for my data sufficiency part in the data insight. So that tells me that I answered every data sufficiency questions correct. Again, this is because of eGMAT, and something that I find most daunting, that something that I find most difficult when I started turned out to be my greatest strength in the data insights. And yeah, generally that's all thanks to eGMAT and the systematic approach. I really appreciate the systematic approach of the platform that enables me from like literally from zero to this point.
Correct. Correct. Thank you so much. Okay, let's discuss a bit about Quant because you mentioned Pace Engine,
Mm-hmm.
right? You did save around 30 hours on
Mm-hmm.
the course by using the
Mm-hmm.
Pace Engine, right? And that's again a fantastic achievement in itself. So I want to first understand about uh, what do you think exactly did not go your way in the Quant section on the test? What went wrong?
Oh, mhm. Okay, just one thing, simply one thing, time management. Because again, time management is something that you have to practice yourself. Like eGMAT's job is really to give you an understanding and to help you practice. But again, on the test day, like the psychology management, the time management, it's all up to you. And yeah, unfortunately, I was not able to do that much of a good job in terms of time management in the quantitative section, because on test day itself, unfortunately, for the first few questions, I know that I have to get the few questions correct because again, GMAT is an adaptive test, but I think I took too much time on the first few questions to make sure it was correct, and it turned out to be correct though. But the extra time it cost me was really kind of felt by me towards the end of the test. I still remember I have like three questions remaining, and I only have 2 minutes left. Nowhere near enough time, so I really had to skim and to really push myself to the last drop of my ability. And for the final one, the 21st question, if I'm not mistaken, I had to randomly guess an answer, and yeah, that's what took my score a bit low. But in general, eGMAT's task of really cementing the concepts, teaching me about the concepts was absolutely flawless. Again, with the PACE engine, if you are like me, you have quite a good background on quantitative. Maybe you come from a science background, so which means that you have to study, I don't know, biology, chemistry, physics. So you have kind of a background in terms of quantitative. So don't waste your like if you are on a time in a time constraint like me, I only had around 2 months of studying. So don't waste your time on an area that you are already strong at. So it's much better to use those time to really improve on the areas that you feel that you are lacking. And in terms of quant, I do have I was quite confident in some of the basic concepts of quant, and with the pace engine, it allowed me to skip many of the lessons that I have already grasped. Like the engine tells me, "Oh, you're good at this part. Oh, you're good at this part. You might want to skip this if you are confident about yourself." And yeah, basically, I followed every suggestions, and that really helped me save time in my preparation.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, let's move to the mock journey because the mock journey is a journey in itself, right?
Correct.
It's a little different from your entire prep journey because
Mm-hmm.
This is where you want to apply all your learnings together in
Hmm.
those 2.5, 3 hours and bring out your best.
Correct.
And it's not just about having your ability, it's about how you express your ability,
Hmm.
right? That is what makes it a very different journey. So
Correct.
you took a lot of mocks on the portal. I want
Hmm.
to understand what was your mock strategy? What were you doing between two mocks to try and see some improvement in the next mock from the current mock?
Okay. So for my case, I personally planned that I will not take a mock until I am 100% confident that I am ready to take the GMAT again because EG mock is something very very precious. Like the official GMAT only gives you two mocks and eGMAT gave you five, one of which you take in the beginning before you start your eGMAT journey. So that only leaves you with four. So you really want to save these four after you're really confident about your skills. And so my strategy was I took all of these four tests before my actual GMAT. So several days before, like probably 1 or 2 weeks before, I took two out of these four tests, and then D-2 for my test actual test date. I took another one, and D-1 I took the final one as the final preparation. And so yeah, let's start with the second and third mock because the first mock is the initial mock, and then the second and third I took around 2 weeks, 2 to 1 week before my actual exam. I scored around 655 or 665. It's actually very similar to my actual GMAT score, and again, what I want to emphasize is the quality of the questions and the similarity between the mocks and the actual exam. So the Sigma X mock test by eGMAT, it really like you can say it's a mini GMAT on its own. Like it's already very similar, and what you see on the screen is almost probably what you will actually get. So on my second and third, I scored relatively stable scores. And then for my fourth, I took D-2 before my test. But unfortunately, I was not feeling well at that day. So my mock score plummeted to like 555 or 565, like almost back to square one. So that actually emphasizes the importance of your fitness. Again, it's not only what you learn, how much you learn, and time management. Also, you have to take care of your physical stamina because again, those 2.5 hours during the test are really really demanding. They will demand all of your focus, all of your energy. So you have to make sure you are fit even if you have learned all of the concepts, you're confident about the concepts. But if you are not fit, like what I did on my fourth mock eGMAT test, that can really pull down your score. And for fine, but um, luckily, I managed to recover completely D-1 of my test, and I took again the mock and I scored around 665. And on my actual GMAT, I got 655. So again, guys, this really shows you like the similarity, the quality of these questions that can really, to some extent, predict your ability. And this has been very helpful for me. Me personally, I was targeting MBA programs in Japan and some European business schools. So I set a target of 645 for myself. And yeah, seeing from my second and third and fifth mock, seeing that I have achieved this level, this target level, gave me the confidence to do the actual GMAT test on test day. And yeah, it turned out exactly like what the eGMAT mock tests have told me so far.
Fantastic. I'm happy that the mocks were really predictable. They made your score predictable for you
Mhm.
because before the test day, all you need is confidence,
Right.
right? That you can do it, and I think that is what played a huge role in your success as well. So, Darren, now that we are coming towards the end of this debrief session, any final words of wisdom, any advice for the GMAT aspirants? Something that you believe you did not know earlier and you want to
Mhm.
share it with them?
Absolutely. So probably just a final note for me is no matter like what background you come from, no matter whether you're a science guy, you're a social science guy, a linguistic guy, whatever guy, as long as you have the determination, as long as you have self-confidence, that is absolutely correct, Dhruv. You really have to have self-confidence. Like you have to be able in your mind, you have to materialize, like you have to think that you are able to do it before you actually do it. So that's the first one. And yeah, generally just with eGMAT, you really don't have to, spend too much time thinking on what to study, which part I have to do. Like the custom built engine will do all of those thinking for you. So all of you have to do is just follow the instructions, be confident, and make sure you are fit on test day. That's also really important. Like, don't stay up too late, don't play games, like, don't do anything stupid. D-1 before the test day. Just make sure you are in your optimum condition, you are fit, you've and if yeah, with eGMAT's help, if you've done all of the courses and you're fit, I see absolutely no reason why you can't have at least 645.
Fantastic, Darren. It was really nice of you to come here, share your journey so that other aspirants benefit out of your journey. So I really appreciate you taking out the time to do this. So
My
thank you so
pleasure.
much, Darren. And we as eGMAT are extremely proud of the way you went about your journey. And we really wish you the best for your applications. And please keep us posted so that we can celebrate more success with you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dhruv.